So I believe in being truthful, not neutral. And I believe we must stop banalizing the truth. We have to be prepared to fight, especially hard right now, for the truth, because this is a world where the Oxford English Dictionary, just last week, announced its word for 2016, and that is post-truth. We have to accept that we have had our lunch handed to us by the very same social media that we have so slavishly been devoted to. The winning candidate did a very savvy end run around us and used it to go straight to the people, combined with the most incredible development ever, which is the tsunami of fake news, aka lies. Somehow, people could not, would not recognize, fact-check, or disregard these lies. One of the main writers of these false news sites, these articles, these lies, says that people are getting dumber. They're just passing fake reports around without fact-checking. And we now need to ask whether technology has finally outpaced our human ability to keep up. Facebook needs to step up. Advertisers need not to advertise on these obviously fake news sites, some of which they know are, but just they get lots of clicks, so they get lots of money. Wael Ghonim, who was one of the fathers of the Arab Spring's so-called social media revolution, now says, quote, "The same medium that so effectively transmits a howling message of change also appears to undermine the actual ability to make that change. Social media amplifies the human tendency to bind with one's own kind. It tends to reduce complex social challenges to mobilizing slogans that reverberate in echo chambers of the like-minded rather than engage in persuasion, in dialogue, and to reach for consensus. Hate speech and untruths appear alongside good intentions and truths." So I feel that right now we face an existential crisis, a real threat to the very relevance and usefulness of our profession. Now, more than ever, I genuinely believe that we need to recommit to real reporting across a real nation and a real world in which journalism and democracy are in mortal peril, including by foreign powers like Russia, who pay to churn out and to place these false news articles, these lies in many of our press. They hack into democratic systems, not just here as they're accused of, but also now allegedly in crucial democratic experiences that are going on in Germany and France and elsewhere in the post-values world. And let me just take a moment to hit back at the so-called elitist backlash that we're all bending over backwards to accommodate. Since when were American values elitist values? They're not left, they're not right, they're not rich, they're not poor values, they're not the forgotten man values. Like many foreigners, I have learned that they are universal. They are the values of every American, from the humblest to the most exalted. They form the very fundamental foundation of these United States, and they are the basis of America's global leadership. These values are brand America. They are America's greatest export and its greatest gift to the world. So yes, like very many people around the world who are watching this incredible election, I was shocked. I was shocked because very few ever imagined that so many Americans conducting their sacred duty in the secret ballot box, using their ballot, would be so angry as to ignore the wholesale denigration of these values, the vulgarity of language, the sexual predatory behavior, the deep misogyny, the bigoted and the insulting views. It's many times been quoted that the governor of New York, former governor Mario Cuomo, said that you campaign in poetry, but you govern in prose. Perhaps this time the opposite will be true. But if it's not, I will fight, like all journalists must, to defend and to protect the unique value system that makes these United States, and with which it seeks to influence and lead the world. The conservative radio host, who may be the next White House press secretary, says mainstream media is hostile to traditional values. I say it's just the opposite. Have you read, you must all have read, about the Heil Victory meeting not far from the White House in Washington this weekend? We must be doing many, many stories about the dangerous right, the dangerous rise of the far right, not just here, but also across Europe. And since when did neo-Nazism and anti-Semitism stop being a crucial litmus test in the United States? We must fight against the normalization of what is unacceptable.